Hi.
Hello.
We're in the Endgame now.
Yeah. Well, we were, and then.
And now we're here.
Yes.
Through the magic of the Infinity Stones, we are here to say everything we thought about Avengers Endgame.
It was awesome. Review over. Bye. Anyway.
I'm gonna throw me only at the camera now. Infinity War Part 2.
Yeah. So.
Spoilers! Spoilers! Spoilers!
Yeah. Spoiler. Like obviously big spoilers here.
Yes.
So yeah. The movie pretty much starts off.
Where Infinity War ended.
Yeah, where they're all like
sad
and counting, trying to add up who survived, who didn't, and then they.
And we got a scene of Clint Barton, Hawkeye, trying to find his family. Nice family shot of him before the snap with his training his daughter how to be Hawkeye.
Yeah, and
then they get snapped.
Yeah.
And then he goes crazy and decides to take revenge on people who survived.
But, yeah, so... And then, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, shows up and...
saves Iron Man.
Yeah, like...
And Nebula.
Yeah, so... You remember, like, how, that scene in the trailer with, Tony Stark, like...
tapping his helmet and...
Yeah, and saying, like, and we're all running, how is he gonna get back to Earth with the Carol Danvers Ex Machina? It's just her.
She is the Ex Machina of the movie.
Well, not the total Ex Machina, but she was a bit OP.
Yeah. She didn't kill Thanos.
No, but I mean...
She probably came close.
No, and she freaking just, like, punched through his spaceship.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's where the movie's closer to like 90% dealing with everything and then about 10% action. Because all the action was saved for the end. Most of it was just them either dealing with what happened or trying to find a way to reverse what happened.
Yeah. But so yeah, basically the first plan they hatch up is they go to find Thanos, who's, settled on this this planet that he's turned into a garden, and he's farming and stuff, like in the comics.
Yeah, and they're trying to get the Infinity Stones back, but he decided to destroy them.
Which, for the record, in the comics is actually not possible.
Yeah. And also each different world has their own Infinity Gauntlet that doesn't work outside their own.
This is also true, but in the comics at least, it doesn't matter which universe it is. Those Infinity Stones can't actually be destroyed.
Yeah. But he used them to destroy themselves.
Yeah, so that is one change they made from the comics, but that's fine.
There's also the Interdimensional Council of Reeds in the comics. It's literally all Reed Richards, led by the three leaders: Reed, Reed, and Reed.
Yeah, but the Fantastic Four isn't in the MCU yet. Yeah.
They have the rights.
Yeah.
We don't know what they'll do with them, but they have the rights.
What we do know is they'll do something better than what's been done with them so far.
It would be hard.
You cannot go lower than rock fucking bottom.
It would be hard, yes.
But anyway, yeah, they.
But then a rat lets out Scott Lang from the quantum realm. They killed. First, Thor chops off Thanos' arm, which had the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Which is where they realize there are no gems on it.
Yeah.
And then Thor just goes for the head.
Yeah, like the Rock is like, what did you do? It's like, I went for the head.
I went for the head.
Oh, something else we need to bring up. Thor's fat now.
Later in the
Oh,
movie.
right, yeah.
This is still a point where he's still active and really angry, so he just whack with Stormbreaker. Breaker. But then they realize, what do we do now? Which is at that point a rat.
Well, actually, it's 5 years later.
5 years later, sorry.
So at
they've
this
all
point,
tried to move on.
Yeah, they've all Steve Rogers has started this council.
Group,
but they all kind of realize there's no moving on from this. So, and then Scott Lang
gets let out of the quantum realm by a rat touching the control panel.
Yeah.
Plot convenience. because his van was like in some garbage or not some like
a storage facility,
unit.
of
And he
some
was
kind.
deemed dead because nobody knew what happened to him.
Yeah, they assumed he went out with the snap.
Yeah, but he suddenly shows up at Avengers Mansion after finding his daughters also survived. Cassie survived the snap. Now she's a teenager or
Yeah.
older,
Yeah.
and that's literally all we see of her until the like throughout most of the movie.
I mean, there's so many characters
Yes.
crammed into this, you can't really. But yeah, and then
He goes to Avengers and tries to get them to use the quantum realm to reverse what Thanos
yeah,
did.
because he basically said from their perspective, he was trapped in there for 5 years, but he said
like 5 seconds.
5 hours. He said
5
Just
hours.
5 hours. So he said, if they could figure out a way to use, but then we get this. Steve Rogers decides the only one who can really help them do this is Tony Stark. So they go to him, who's now had a daughter with Pepper, and they're living out in the woods, like sort of happy,
Yeah. As happy as you could be in that situation.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you're not properly happy because you know what you lost, but you're trying to make the best of it for the new life you have.
And yeah, but and basically Tony Stark is like
No, I have. He says no.
Well, it's more that he says it's impossible. Like, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, scientifically, he doesn't think it can work. But it's also a little foreshadowing. It shows his daughter Morgan playing with an Iron Man helmet, a blue Iron Man helmet. Blue is not Tony Stark's color.
Yeah, but so yeah, then we then Steve goes to the next best option, which is we get Professor Hulk in this movie.
Yes.
It's literally Bruce Banner, but with all the strength and appearance of the Hulk.
Yeah. And they're in a diner. They go to a diner to eat, and Hulk takes pictures with fans.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man's jealous of it, and he wants pictures, but he realizes the boys don't want pictures, but Hulk's trying to force them to take pictures.
Well, I'm more surprised by if nobody recognized Steve Rogers and wanted to take his picture. Because Captain frickin' America, but but yeah.
And we also have scenes of Natasha communicating with people around the world to try and
coordinate things and look for Barton.
Yeah, Clint, who's
just going around killing gangs.
And we find him in Japan later.
Killing some Yakuza.
Yeah,
at least
it's implied that they are.
Well, I mean, they're commanded Yakuza.
Yeah, Yakuza is one of the only crime leaders in Japan. But.
Yeah. So he's basically going around just trying to be like the Punisher, essentially, just mowing down gangs.
Yeah, but he's Ronin, which is literally the definition of a samurai who has no master.
But not Ronin the Accuser.
No, just a Ronin.
Yeah. It gets kind of confusing. So many characters with the same name.
But then Tony is stuck on the quantum realm.
Well, basically, he's not really stuck. He's just sort of like casually thinking, I'll just run through some simulations. I don't expect anything to come out of this. And then suddenly and he's like,
it works.
Shit! Oh shit! And then his daughter's like, shit!
Yeah.
No. Only your mother can say that word. Shit! No, stop saying that.
I've got a lot of shit here.
Don't say that word.
But I'm gonna keep saying but Tony's gonna say that word anyway. So they try to.
Yeah, because just before Tony Stark arrives with the solution. They have Professor Hulk trying to do it, and we have this funny little scene of them testing it on Scott Lang
and him going between ages of an old man, a young kid, a baby, and he comes back and he's like, I'm not sure which of me pissed my pants. Was it baby me,
old man me, or just me?
And then Tony Stark shows up. He's like, I did it. Because of course he did.
Yes.
There's nothing Tony Stark can't do. Besides conquer alcoholism.
Well, I
in
mean,
the comics. Oh, he did that. But.
yeah, he did. But
he can't stop. That's the one thing the movie says. He can't stop trying to save people.
Until we'll
Don't
get
say
to
it.
that.
Don't say it yet.
I mean, this is already a spoiler-heavy review, but yeah.
But save it till the end. So
Yeah.
then they go around recruiting people, which is where Natasha, the scene of Natasha in Japan, and she brings back Clint.
Yeah.
They go to New Asgard,
Yeah.
which is just like a seaside port town, basically.
Yeah. It's probably in
It looks like
Norway.
Yeah.
Because in Thor Ragnarok, that's kind of where they implied they were going to make the New Asgard anyway.
Yeah, the place they place their stuff off of.
Yeah.
The Norse gods.
Yeah.
But basically, Thor has turned into your drunk uncle. Drinking, giant belly.
Yeah.
What was the rock alien's name? Korg?
Korg and Meek are there.
Korg is playing Fortnite. Meek is eating pizza. And some
Valkyrie is
troll,
there.
Yeah, Valkyrie's there. Some online troll is making fun of Korg, so Thor threatens him.
Yeah,
He's just walking around drinking beer. Where it's Hulk and Rocket go to him, and they have to convince him to come back to beat that guy.
And finally Rocket's like, we have beer on the ship, and Thor's like, what kind of beer?
He's basically grown out his beard to look more like the person the god that he's based off of.
Yeah, but except the mythological Thor wasn't, a slouch like that. But and then it's really funny, how Tony Stark's always giving nicknames to people. This time when he's like calls him the Lebowski.
Lebowski. Like Lebowski. He does kind of look like him.
No. Also, the irony. Remember in Infinity War when the Guardians of the Galaxy pick up Thor from space and Drax is like.
You are dude.
This is a man. And then like the whole movie, like Quill's like trying to pretend he's not jealous of Thor's muscles.
Yeah. But Thor doesn't have them anymore.
Yeah. No, he's just.
But then they have to create a plan on what to do with time travel. So basically, they split up into 3 teams to go.
Yeah, because they determined that depending on what time you go to. New York has 3 Infinity Stones.
Yeah. So 3 different teams go to 3 different times to get the Infinity Stones. It's Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man. They go to New York during the setting of the first Avengers movie.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute. Then the team number 2 goes to
Asgard.
both. Yes, Asgard. Which is Rocket and Thor.
Yes.
And then team number 3 goes to a time but hits 2 places. Basically, they have to split up once they reach that time because 2 planets.
Yeah.
One is the planet where the Power Stone is on. I can't remember what it was called. It's not Mordor, obviously, but I mean something. And
And
the planet where Peter Quill first picked up the Power Stone
in Guardians of the Galaxy.
They even show him doing that stupid dance,
and then they knock him out.
Yeah. But yeah, and then
I'm thinking that reminds me of one of the scenes where they're all getting together and like Ant-Man's going around and he's outside and he's talking to Gamora and she's like, Rhodey, there's an idiot in the landing area. And even Rhodey's like looking at Quinn, he's like, so he's an idiot. And she's like, yep.
Yeah,
And then Hawkeye
so
they go to get the Soul Stone.
Yeah, on Vormir.
From the Red Skull. Which means they have to do the same thing that Thanos did.
Yeah, so like right when they said that, I was like, oh, I outright said, oh shit.
Yeah, because one of them has to die. And they actually fight each other over the right to die.
Yeah.
Which ends up, it's Natasha. Natasha ends up being the one sacrificing herself for the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but also apparently she's going to be a director, so she's going to stay along in the MCU just as a director.
Hmm.
It's not the end. It's the end for her character. It's not the end for her. For
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, but
In the movie, she goes from white hair. It takes her 5 years. She dyes her hair back to red, even though you can see the white stripes in her hair, because she didn't. I guess she didn't do a good enough job completely dyeing it red.
no, well, her hair was naturally red.
Yeah.
She bleached it,
Right.
so she just didn't bleach it again, and just let it grow out naturally.
Yeah.
That's about what it would look like 10 years later.
Yeah.
5 years later, I mean.
And Cap shaved his beard that he
Yeah,
had
because
in Infinity War.
we needed to see a scene of him shaving in order, the movie would have been incomplete without us actually see him shave.
But it's clean cut Captain that I guess gives the best image they want.
No, they didn't bother to do that with Thor.
Because that was the character arc they had for Thor.
Yeah.
Captain America is supposed to be this beacon of light, and I guess being clean shaven is the best way to show that. When they show Steve trying to be mighty and like trying to stay calm, when they show Thor basically at wit's end and all
They're
depressed.
just giving up, just
Yeah. That's his character arc for the movie, and so basically,
So yeah,
the Avengers are in New York.
Yeah,
and
the Avengers and the Avengers.
yes. So the Hulk has to go grab the Time Stone from Doctor Strange.
Yeah, like the professor. But before that, we get a funny scene where they arrive and and we get the first thing we see is that
spin around.
yeah, the iconic Avengers like spin around in
Team up shot. From
and then we we see the from the future Avengers showing up, and they see that, and so they have to split up. But then Steve turns to Professor Hulk and says, "Oh, and try to smash a little bit."
Yeah, because
And then he's just like, "Oh, okay."
I find this redundant, but
break this car. Throw this motorcycle. I'm Hulk.
because
Rip my shirt off.
they literally teleport into an alleyway where the Hulk has thrown a car onto one of the bad guys, and he's just stomping on it.
So yeah, so it's like, how do we do?
So he has to go talk to the Ancient One.
Yeah,
Because it's not Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange isn't the sorcerer in this at this time.
she actually outright says
He's down the road. You're about
performing surgery.
Yeah, about how many X amount of years too early.
Yeah,
Because she's been watching him for so long.
and she can see the future.
Yeah.
Or at least up until the point when she dies.
Yeah, she saw infinite time, or not infinite timelines, but she tried to look at as many timelines as possible to see past her death in Doctor Strange.
No, Doctor Strange is the one who did that.
Yeah. He did that for Endgame, but she was also looking into the future.
But she couldn't see past her own death.
No, she couldn't. But at this point, she still has the Time Stone.
Yeah, the
And
Eye of Agamotto.
And she basically has a soul-to-soul conversation with Bruce Banner. It's a funny image of the Hulk lying there, but Bruce Banner's soul is still Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And they come to the decision that he gave the stone up for a reason, and that they explain the time.
That if you pluck a time stone, an infinity stone out of the timeline, it'll create a parallel timeline that might not be as ideal.
Yeah, she couldn't give up her timeline.
Yeah.
But they realized that eventually they came to agreement that the Hulk would bring it back, or somebody would bring it back to reset the timeline.
Yeah.
Which plays into it at the very end.
Yes, we will also get to that.
Yes. So then Iron Man and Cap have to go into the Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
To take the Tesseract, or the Loki scepter.
Yeah. And we get a nice little call back to.
Ant-Man.
Oh yeah.
Ant-Man is with them.
Yeah, and we get a nice little. We get to see what happened right after Loki said, "I'll have that drink now."
Oh yeah. They take him out of the tower.
And we redundantly get to see why he had that stupid mouth thing on his because he was just talking too much, and Thor said, "Shut up."
Yeah. So they try and take the Tesseract by forcing Tony to have like a malfunction of his arc reactor.
Yeah. We also we see all the the Shield agents that all turned out to be Hydra in
Trying to take the staff away. And we
Yeah.
also see the Hulk right after forced to take the stairs.
Yeah.
Because I guess he couldn't transform back into Bruce Banner quick enough.
Yeah.
Hulk first
He had to take all the stairs, and by the time he got out, he literally rammed right into a future Tony, knocking the Tesseract out of his hands and right into Loki's hands.
Yeah, and Loki got away.
So Loki's still alive.
Yeah, that's my theory.
In this new version of the timeline, Loki is still alive.
Yeah, and still evil.
That is possible.
Yeah. I'm calling it now. He's gonna be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
And then we get a nice scene of Captain America being
In the elevator.
Remember
the elevator scene in Captain America: The Winter Soldier? They basically did this almost shot for shot.
But instead, they gave a nod to Secret Empire,
where basically since Cap already knows who all these people are and who they're really working
he's
for.
like, "Hail Hydra!" and takes the staff with him.
And then he bumps into himself,
who thinks he's Loki,
and they start fighting.
and
the way that future Cap defeats his old self is he says, "Bucky's still alive." He's like, huh?
Because I can do this all night long. Yeah,
I know.
It's like, even I'm sick of my shtick. But yeah, young Cap locks him in a chokehold, and that's how he's forced to knock him out with Loki's staff and take it away.
Yeah.
But then they have to come up with a way to get the Tesseract.
Yeah, because Loki took off with that one, so then they have to go back to the 70s.
And they had a whole scene of Tony interacting with his dad.
Yeah.
And he named himself Howard Potts, as if he's like Pepper's dad.
But yeah,
which was a very nice, touching moment of character for Tony Stark being able to talk to his dad.
he finally got, because remember in Captain America: Civil War he created the barf, the thing that with a bad acronym that was basically to try to reconcile with his past, but he said
the hologram.
Yeah. But he said it's just a hologram. It doesn't really take away the pain. You're not really talking to the people you lost. It's just a simulation.
Yeah.
This time he finally got to have closure. And a lot of this movie too was about the characters finally getting to have closure with people they lost. Because in Asgard, they arrived right before the
events of the second one.
Yeah, right before the Dark Elves attacked and killed Thor's mom.
So he got the nice scene of talking to his mom about his failure.
Yeah, and basically, she established that, she was raised by witches. She knows what's about to happen, and, and that it's okay.
Because it's obvious he wants to save her.
But she says, don't. It'll ruin the plan.
Yeah. And she consoles him saying, "Oh, everyone's bound. Everyone fails. It's who you are that makes you I'm forgetting.
Everyone fails to be who they're meant to be. What you need to do is be who you are."
Yeah. Basically reassuring Thor that he can still do it. And I love the scene of him.
Oh yeah, he gets Mjolnir back. I'm still worthy.
I'm still worthy.
And so now he has both Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, and later in the movie he's using both of them.
And also, in that same scene with Iron Man, Tony, I want to say Tony, Steve, as he goes to grab more pin particles, because they were very limited on pin particles.
Yeah.
It's especially said, they can only do one round trip for each person.
Yeah.
It's basically a do or die mission.
Yeah.
So they went back to the 70s to get the Tesseract, but also get more pin particles, because at the time Hank Pym was still working with what would be S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, and Howard Stark.
Yeah, he didn't fall out with Howard Stark yet.
Yeah.
Because they showed back up basically right before Tony was born.
And they were talking about parenting and stuff because at this point Tony Stark had also had a kid.
Yeah.
So they're talking about the kid thing.
Yeah. And Steve saw Peggy.
Yeah.
As a young self and was like she's literally right behind the pane of glass. Like.
Yeah.
So
and
then
we'll get to that later too.
Yes. And so then we have to get back to the point of it was Rhodey and Nebula.
Yes.
We're gathering the Power Stone, which is the biggest plot point of it all, because Thanos ends up finding out.
Because Nebula is a cyborg.
So like the two Nebulas are interlinked.
Yeah.
Basically, and the young one ends up tapping into the old one.
Yeah.
Or the future one.
Yeah.
And Thanos ends up through this finding out that they're grabbing, like he finds out about himself, and that they're grabbing the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
So he sends her back, the young one, who's still loyal to him, back with Rhodey, who has the Power Stone.
Yeah.
While he has the future one trapped with Gamora, who's still at this point like semi-loyal to Thanos.
But it doesn't take much convincing to change her mind.
No. Because she's always obviously known what he's doing and didn't want to serve him. She just kind of had to.
Yeah.
Because obviously he could just kill her in a...
Yeah.
I just made a bad joke. I just made a really bad joke.
But we'll get to that too.
I'm
the
sorry.
irony.
I'm not sorry. So then Gamora... Walking back, I always seem to say Gamora instead of Nebula. But Nebula goes back.
Why is Gamora?
Why is Gamora? So they all go back and they have all the Infinity Stones, but they don't realize that it's the Gamora who's still with Thanos. So she, unbeknownst to them, Nebula. I did it again.
Why is Nebula?
I did it again. Nebula brings Thanos. She took the time travel tech from the old Nebula.
But first we need to address, right when they have all the stones and they get back to the present and they build a new Infinity Gauntlet with Stark tech.
Yeah.
It's basically just like an Iron Man gauntlet, but...
Turned into the Infinity Gauntlet, just as a way to house the stones.
Yeah. And so... they're all deciding who should do it, and Thor really wants to do it, but they're like, Thor, you're drunk. You're in no shape to do this right now. And so Professor Hulk, because he said that
it's gamma rays that are released,
and he said I was made with gamma rays, so I'm the most likely to survive this, and he does.
He does, but his arm is badly damaged.
Yeah, and he gets a little bit of a scar on his face, so he's like Professor Two-Face Hulk. Or One Face.
Mm-hmm.
My God, One Face!
But then Gamora, I say it again.
Why is Gamora?
Nebula brings Thanos and his army back into the future. Because she took the tech and then she used it to...
Oh, speaking of which, there's a scene where they were talking about all the different time travel movies. And especially Back to the Future and like Scotland. What, are you saying like Back to the Future is like all wrong?
Yeah, because Rhodey's the one who's obsessed with all the future movies. And Ant-Man. Ant-Man, the two of them. And
Hulk, half the characters in the MCU are nerds, let's face it.
And Hulk's like, I can't believe you guys believe that. That's not true. It explains it like, if you go to the past, that past is now your future. Or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, you can't go back to the future because it's not your future anymore.
But anyway,
so then Thanos attacks.
Yeah.
Destroys the Avengers compound.
Yeah, like he brings his spaceship and like his entire army.
Mm-hmm. And Nebula takes tries to get the gauntlet.
Yeah, but then they start playing Gauntlet Hot Potato.
Yeah, because Hawkeye finds it, because they're basically, the rest of them are, like, a few of them are trapped in the rubble.
Which is also actually a little bit of a subtle nod to Secret Wars.
Yeah, where he holds up a billion-ton mountain.
Yeah, it wasn't a billion-ton mountain in the movie. It was just a building.
Yeah.
A really big building.
That's exactly what I was thinking, was like, It's not a billion-ton mountain, but it's good enough. So like Rocket's drowning, and Rhodey, where Hawkeye has the gauntlet and is running around, and Hulk's just trying to save them.
Yeah, and then Ant-Man goes and,
saves them somehow.
Yeah, and Giant Man's the fuck up.
Yeah. Which Kal-El explained he wouldn't have much force. At least he couldn't find...
Oh, maybe this changes that. No, because, you talk about the blow up Thanos from the inside.
Yes.
They don't do that, but...
Thankfully.
They do something much more ironic.
Yes. So then he brings his
Well,
whole
twice,
army.
technically. Two ironic things.
Yeah.
We already talked about the first one. Finally aim for the head.
Yes. So then the final act of the movie is a giant fight scene. All of Thanos' army versus the Avengers, who's left.
Well,
And
not just the Avengers.
no, we have to explain it first.
Yeah.
We have to get to it, because Gamora and Nebula have decided not to give the gauntlet to Thanos, and Nebula shot her younger self.
Yeah, which in most time travel movies that would make...
would create a time paradox.
But, nope, not... Because this goes on the parallel universe version of time travel.
Yeah. So then everyone fights Captain, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, all three of them versus Thanos.
Oh, and speaking of which...
I wanted to do it.
Guess
Who's
who
worth
just... Yeah. He
Freaking
finally does
Captain.
it. He finally does it.
He finally just grabs it, and Thor's like, I knew it! This is exactly why I grabbed Mjolnir.
And then there's a funny little exchange later where, they're both, using...
They have each... Captain has Stormbreaker, and Thor has Mjolnir. He's like, swap, give me... You can have the small one.
Yeah. You have the little one.
But, like, Thanos eventually gets the gauntlet. Because, actually, we have to talk about Hulk made the wish to bring back all the people.
Yes.
So he actually snapped his fingers.
Yeah, the reverse snap.
It just didn't happen right away. So they'd have to fight Thanos, but he eventually gets the Infinity Gauntlet and tries it. But not before Captain Marvel shows up, blowing a hole in his spaceship.
Yeah.
And literally, there was the best moment, in my opinion. Everyone who died in the snap, everyone shows up in
through Doctor Strange portals.
Yes, it's like
everyone.
First we saw the first three people was Black Panther and his sister and
Sam Falcon.
Yes, and it's just like you hear it, you don't realize what's going on, but you hear something in the distance. It's basically in Cap's ear, like, Cap, is someone there? You realize it's Sam's voice, and he's like, the overjoy he must feel at that moment.
Yeah,
he's just like, they're all. It's like it is that I imagine to see.
Then like 100 portals all open up.
Everyone comes.
To do an impression of Gary Oldman in that movie, that the scene they begin with, everyone,
all the magicians with Doctor Strange, all the Wakandan warriors.
Yes.
Everyone,
even the surviving Asgardians.
Yes. And I think the moment that got to me the most was like Spider-Man showing up again. It's just like he had such a tearful reunion with Iron Man. It's like,
yeah.
Do you remember? I got turned to dust, and I woke up and you were gone.
Yeah.
But everyone just starts wailing on Thanos' army, and just it's a little bit honestly of a mess. It's kind of a messy action shot because it's going like everywhere, and it's going really fast.
But also keep in mind we didn't have the most ideal seats.
Yeah.
We were sitting in like the second to the front row.
Yeah.
So we had our necks craned up a bit, so that might have not helped, but
it's like everything happens basically at the blink of an eye. Like it's not slow at all. Like,
yeah, we'll get to this.
I keep thinking
we'll get to that.
But so everyone's trying to get the Infinity Gauntlet away from Thanos, like playing keep away with Thanos.
Yeah.
As he's fighting them all.
And then like Doctor Strange and Tony Stark meet back up, and Tony's like, so you remember you said the 14,605 different outcomes. This is the one, right?
If I told you it wouldn't happen.
And so yeah, and finally
no, unfortunately, no awesome facial hair bros mentions.
Oh, that's something else I should mention. When during the scene in the 70s, everyone started, saying there's this guy with this hippie beard.
Yeah, and they're like, which kind of hippie? The security guards are like, which kind of hippie? Even Howard Stark's like, ugly beard. Like everyone insults Tony Stark's beard.
But anyway.
But eventually Thanos gets the gauntlet and tries. He tries to snap.
Well, first of all, he tries, but then Carol Danvers just friggin' holds it even with him with the fucking Infinity Gauntlet,
he can't.
This is how fucking OP Carol Danvers is. She fights him off single-handedly when he has the fucking Infinity Gauntlet.
It's supposed to be Adam Warlock, but
no, but she's just completely first of all, she just punches right through his spaceship.
Yeah.
Obliterates most of his army single-handedly, and then just beats the snot out of him when he already has the fucking Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be Adam Warlock, but they didn't decide to use him past his hinted appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
He'll probably be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Probably. But then eventually he tries to snap again, but he realizes Iron Man has the gems, and he put them in his suit. And it's such a badass moment. He's like, I am Iron Man. And wipes out Thanos and his army. Thanos' army's just all irony. It must taste so good.
Yeah, double irony, because 1, aim for the head, 2, snap.
And then Thanos even realizes, you see the look on his face, I failed. And he sits down and just, dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
But,
in the process, Tony Stark dies.
Yeah.
He couldn't handle the power of the Infinity Gems.
Yeah, but, first, one thing I do want to
Yeah, another thing I absolutely loved, all the giant female team up. In the fight scene, all the female main characters, Scarlet Witch,
one of the
Pepper in the Iron Man arm, in her own Iron Man armor. All the main women from the movies team up in one shot.
Also, we need to address that when this the Thanos from the past learned that even after he succeeded, people were not grateful as he thought they would be. He said,
"I'm just gonna kill them all
and start over."
Yeah, so he's
create his own universe where people will be grateful and will not,
will not know of what happened because there will be nobody alive who was alive before this now.
So yeah, they kind of made this version of Thanos less sympathetic than the one from the previous movie, but that's fine. Because this isn't his movie this time. This is the Avengers movie.
This is the revenge. The revenge of the Avengers.
Yes, this is the avenging.
Yes. So, the last section of the movie is a
funeral
for Tony Stark.
As well as for Natasha, who had to sacrifice herself for the Soul Stone. And
they kept making
a few other characters who died throughout the movies, this movie and all the previous movies.
Were there any others who died in this one?
I don't know. But they did talk about ones who died in previous movies, like Vision and Thor's family.
Yeah, because Scarlet Witch gets her, basically, her moment to shine. She's like, you took everything from me.
Thanos is like, I don't know you.
I don't even know who you are.
It's like, you will.
We're not going to do Russian accents.
Well, neither did she.
Yeah, but the character, I think it's the character was raised by gypsies. She has some kind of accent.
She originally did, but then she just dropped it in Infinity War and didn't bother because she was so bad at it.
Yeah.
So it was a good change. Like, you know what, you're bad at this accent, just drop the accent.
And Rhodey got a new suit.
Yeah.
Freaking, it looked like it was more red than it was usual gray.
And actually, that's pretty much setting up that he's gonna be the
probably
because that's what happened in the comics for a while.
Yeah.
Rhodey became Iron Man.
But then we have the funeral, and it is very emotional. It's everyone,
And
lined
not
up
just that, but we also get a call back to the first Iron Man. Remember, you saw the first Iron Man movie, right?
Yeah, of course.
Remember that his first chest arc that
Yeah.
he made? That Pepper turned into a little, like, she engraved on it proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Yeah.
They put that on like a bouquet of that they let float out onto the lake home where that Tony had made for himself.
And they also he had a digital, like all the messages he had. They replayed a message for everyone, like a digital recording saying, "I hope you show this in celebration," as they show basically scenes of people going back to their normal lives.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man in school, Black Panther looking over Wakanda, I believe.
Yeah. New Asgard.
Thor anoints Valkyrie as the queen of Asgard. He's just going to go off with the
because like as a callback to what his mother told him.
That's not who he.
He was meant to be king, but that's not who he is. He's not a king.
He has to be who he is.
So which apparently is a
Asgardian of the Galaxy.
Yes.
As he literally said, the Asgardians of the Galaxy.
So yeah, basically Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to have Thor in it.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it now, it's also going to have Loki. Calling it now.
Oh, and
it's going to have Loki.
And at the end, Steve Rogers has to go back in time
to return all the Infinity Stones to where they belonged. And
they tried to bring her back, but he decided to come back through time the normal way.
Yeah, because his old character was that, he got frozen in the ice and then
didn't get a chance to live his life.
Yeah. He finally decided, I can fix this now.
He's like, I'm gonna live that life some of that life that Tony told me to.
Yeah. So and then
he didn't come back with Mjolnir though. He left the present with Mjolnir. He didn't come back with it.
He did come back with. Well, I mean, he did have his shield.
Because Thanos broke his shield in half, just like he did in the comics.
Yeah.
Because the shield can only be broken by like cosmic powers or reality warping powers, which is something.
Or adamantium.
Yeah. Which is something Thanos did in the comics. So it's like he broke it right in half. But Steve Rogers is so obsessed with that shield, he always has to get a new one. But this time he gives it to Sam because he's a proper old man.
Yeah,
in this time, where he actually lived his life with Peggy Carter.
Yeah,
because they cut to a scene of them dancing in basically their home.
Yeah.
So now Sam is going to be Captain America in the future.
Yeah.
And also have a television show with Bucky.
Yeah.
on Disney's version of Netflix.
And also calling it now, Red Skull is going to be the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Because Red Skull, he's not bound to Vormir now. He can just go and do whatever he wants, and he's probably going to be the main antagonist to them. Calling it now.
Then probably a new Hydra. Like he might create a new Hydra.
Yeah.
Then they could tie into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and bring Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if they wanted.
Hmm.
But
yeah.
For a 3-hour movie, it went by faster than you expected to, because there isn't really much downtime, much dull moments. It's always like, okay, what are we doing? We have to do something.
Yeah.
There's no real. They gave us basically a year to recover from Infinity War.
Yeah.
So this movie has no downtime to let you recover.
Yeah.
You've already tried.
Yeah, basically it's just half the movie is basically revisiting scenes from previous movies from a different perspective.
Yeah, it's a clip show. It's basically a clip show version of the Avengers movies.
But a clip show would just be stuff we've already seen. But it's stuff we've already seen plus stuff we didn't see.
Yeah.
Stuff that happened to stuff after the stuff we already saw.
Yeah. And then we had a scene we were talking about the Asgard into the galaxy. Where, Peter Quill sees Gamora again for the first, basically.
Oh yeah.
For the first time in 5 years.
Except this Gamora is
still.
Yeah, hadn't even met Quill yet.
No. She's still basically the program killer Thanos made her.
Yeah.
So he grabs her thinking, oh, it's Gamora. But then she's like, don't ever touch me.
First time you missed both. So
Yeah, because she hit him in the nuts.
Yeah.
She need him in the balls.
Yeah. and then
Gamora's to Nebula
this is the one, and
was
Nebula's
either that
like,
or a tree.
Yeah. It's either him or a tree.
It's like, what? Drax doesn't count?
Why is Gamora?
You realize Drax was there the whole time. You just couldn't see him.
His movements are so slow. They're imperceptible. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Oh, hi, Drax. Damn it.
There is a funny scene in the giant war where he's just stabbing a monster in the back with his 2 knives. Like,
yeah.
Stab, 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 stab.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot that happens in the fight scene.
Basically,
Like, it's almost too much to talk about because it's like every moment something's happening. Like,
we're both, once this is released on Blu-ray, we're both going to have to pick it up and just rewatch it a few times to see stuff we missed.
yeah. Because, like, Doctor Strange has to stop a tidal wave.
Yeah, and he turns it into a fucking water tornado.
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't attack Thanos, but he's just the whole battle. He's just standing there, stopping it. Like he's not even fighting at all. He's fighting the tornado.
Yeah, and then Thanos after Thanos just orders his ship to open fire on the battlefield, and then all the sorcerers use their shields to block it, and then of course Carol Danvers comes right through the ship.
Yeah. Oh, and Tony Stark goes back to see Doctor Strange again during the battle. He's like, "Is this the one?" And Doctor Strange's like, which makes Tony convinces Tony to take the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it also explains why in Infinity War, Doctor Strange gives up the Time Stone to spare, so that Thanos will spare Tony Stark.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Tony Stark's the one that saves everyone.
Like they even established, like back in the Battle of New York scene when, amusingly, Professor Hulk is trying to convince the Ancient One that he needs the Time Stone, and then what convinces her is he said that
Doctor Strange gave it up.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe he made a mistake, and she's like, or maybe I did, and then she's like, if he gave it up willingly, it must have been for a reason. Take it.
Yeah. And also it harkens back to Infinity War where Thanos said, "I hope people remember you, Stark."
You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
Yeah.
And stuff so...
And that would honestly be a perfect moment to end the Avengers.
The entire MCU, but but they already have more movies slated.
Because it's like, you started with Tony Stark, but you end with the end of Tony Stark. So you basically come full circle storytelling-wise. Like, it would be a satisfying way to end. Obviously, they're not because money. Yeah. But like, if you... Like,
well, I suppose, in a sense, it's not the end of the MCU, but it's an end of an era of the MCU.
End of an era. Because they're continuing without Tony Stark, because they have basically everyone besides Natasha and Tony Stark, or Vision, or Quicksilver.
Well, Quicksilver was only really in Age of Ultron, and he was kind of a throwaway character in that. Mostly because the Quicksilver from the X-Men was just better.
Yes. But that makes me think, since now they have the X-Men, are they going to keep Quicksilver dead? Or could they use it to make meta jokes? He's like, oh, so in this timeline I died?
Technically they also own Deadpool.
Yes.
Speaking of meta jokes.
They own Deadpool.
But,
Yeah. That movie was quite an experience.
Yeah.
You have to go see it.
Yeah.
To understand just the...
Except we just spoiled it. If you haven't seen it yet and you watched this video, why
did you watch this video?
Why is Gamora?
Like, it's more than the sum of its parts. Like, just saying it doesn't It doesn't delve anywhere near the emotions you have if you've watched every movie and built a relationship with these characters. Like, especially Tony Stark. He's the first one. He's probably the one most people are.
And the thing is, you haven't even seen all the movies up until this point, and I have, and you still got just as much out of it as I did.
Yeah, just because
you skipped a few movies.
Yeah, I skipped honestly, I skipped the 2 Thor movies, and Captain America: The First Avenger, and the Hulk movie. I'm pretty sure those are the only ones I missed, but it'll be. I might go back just to see Thor, just to see where his character started. But
see the first 2 Thor movies.
I might see Captain America, the First Avenger.
You don't need to bother with the Hulk.
No,
movie.
you don't.
It was the weakest link, in my opinion. But yeah.
Like any connection you have to superheroes, it's worth seeing. Just because, even if it just read the comics, even if you just read, like, if you know what happens based off the comics, it doesn't happen exactly the way the comics.
Obviously.
No, like Gamora doesn't end up using
Nebula.
Nebula.
Why is Gamora?
Because I can't stop doing that apparently. But, yeah. So we technically know what's next. At least a little
Spider-Man
bit.
Far From Home.
Far From Home.
Obviously, we see in the trailers.
Yes. Or not wanted to, but just know that the trailers are there.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about some of the trailers we saw now? Because, Linkara usually does that. Saw a trailer for Dark Phoenix, which I want to see. I want to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably going to be better than I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
It's hard to be worse than it.
Well, I mean, it's hard to be worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine, but...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate X-Men X3. It's much like the Nostalgia Critic. I thought it was not that bad, but still, this one has the potential to probably be better.
At least it looks like it adapts more of the Dark Phoenix.
Because in X-Men 3, there's no the Phoenix Force is just it's just a darker part of Jean Grey's psyche.
But the Phoenix Force is an actual cosmic entity.
In this, they actually showed that happening in the trailer, where the X-Men decided to go to space, but then
to save astronauts.
Yeah, but a very similar thing to the Fantastic Four happened, where they're intercepted by the Phoenix Force, and it goes into Jean Grey, and so yeah.
Yeah, because in the comics, it literally forced her to destroy a whole planet, murder a whole planet, and she had to go on, she was on she basically went to space prison, she was destroyed a whole planet, and she was sentenced a court. She went to space court with the X-Men. Its powers are cosmic in nature.
Yeah.
In X3, you really didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
In this one,
in X3, we got I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
In this one, she's at least it makes me do dark things, and I like it.
Yeah.
There's hopefully a bit more character in it, and they're also wearing blue spandex with yellow X's.
And also, I like Michael Fassbender as Magneto. At first, I was like, oh no, you can't replace Ian McKellen. But I was like, you know what? Michael Fassbender's on par. I like him just as much.
Was there anything else?
Well, we saw the Lion King trailer, which had amazing CGI. I have no idea if the movie itself is going to be good, but fuck man, that CGI is awesome.
And Aladdin.
Ugh. The less we talk about that, the better. Yeah, there are other trailers. Oh yeah, we saw another Detective Pikachu trailer, which we are going to see. It's out next weekend.
We didn't see a trailer. We saw the actors talk about it.
That reminds me. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but our theater in particular, the Cineplex, it has this thing called the pre-show and an app for what's called time play, where you can win points and stuff if you guess trivia
I'm sure
and plays the games.
I'm sure other places have that.
Not all
Other
theaters
versions of
yeah.
I'm pretty sure people are used to that kind of thing in the theater.
But yeah, usually
but today
he does pretty let me explain. You do pretty well because usually we go when there's nobody else around,
yes.
so you just win by default.
Yeah.
And he's
or there are
got
one or two people
quite high on the leaderboard just from doing that. But what was really weird happened this time. The theater was packed, hence why we got such crappy seats. But yeah,
the time play is based you have to connect to Wi-Fi, and it just wouldn't work. Nobody could log in except for Loki.
Yes, literally, there was a guy.
The only person playing who won.
Everything by default, because literally we heard other people, they couldn't connect to their Wi-Fi. There was literally only one person who could, and it was, so I'm wondering, was this just a coincidence that just one guy just happened to have a username named Loki that happened to have a network that just happened to work around this?
It just raises too many questions.
Or was the theater trolling us? I'm thinking the theater was trolling us. Is my theory. I think the theater was freaking trolling us. The one guy who was able to actually connect to the Wi-Fi and play the time play was called Loki. I mean, come on. How could that be a coincidence?
I don't know.
But
go watch this movie.
Yes.
Drop whatever you're doing right now and go watch this movie.
I've been Ace. Keep it up your sleeve.
And I'm Deadpool with Mjolnir. Bye. But seriously, go watch it.